Hello, everyone. This is a description and discussion and demonstration of how to create a composition of positive and negative shapes using a minimum of three objects. So first off, your goal is to gather three different things, objects, not living things. And you will arrange these objects on your paper, create a composition uh, on the paper, and you get to decide how they're placed, the size, and your goal is to shade it in either black or leave it the white of the paper. And it's the goal is to get an awareness of balance, composition, but also understand how to draw proportion using shapes rather than lines. Okay, and we're going to discuss some of the things that you might encounter in creating this. And I'm going to demonstrate. Step one is if you have physical objects around your house, like in your kitchen tools, in your garage, uh, in your toolbox, wrench, pliers, in your kitchen spoons, cups. If you'd like to try something a little bit more, I'd say more unique, or find unique shapes of objects you don't have in your house, you can go online and do an image search. Um, it's not absolutely necessary for this assignment, but it might help you to start off by brainstorming and thinking about writing down categories. So, for example, a category, an example would be things that, hobbies that you like. Okay, so for me, hobbies would be like riding a bicycle, let's see, painting, could be uh, playing a musical instrument, okay, playing a sport like golf. So once you have a category or a hobby, uh, under each one, I would like you to write down objects that are related to that hobby. So for example, music, you could choose like jazz music. What are some things when I think of jazz music? I think of 1950s. I think of really cool black shoes, leather shoes. I think of maybe a cool jazz hat from the 1950s or 60s, and a trumpet, okay, and maybe a chair. So another category would be golf. What are some objects related to the golf? A golf club, golf bag, golf ball, a towel, golf towel, golf shoes, a golf tee. So you would gather these things, these image references from online, and then have them on your desktop in a folder, and then you can um, use those as reference. So you're just not guessing. I mean, we could try to create a composition with just our memory of these objects, but it's easier if you have visual references. And if you don't have the three-dimensional objects in front of you, that's fine. Find some digital online references. So I'm going to share my screen here with you. I want to show you just the three objects I found. So for under the theme of jazz or music, so I chose a cap, a hat, shoes, and a trumpet, which I think this might be the toughest one to draw because of its complexity in the shapes and forms. So when you have objects that have more parts to them and more pieces to them, it might be a little bit tougher. And that's okay for those of you when you want to push yourself, try to reach and try something that's a little bit more, maybe not comfortable. It's a little tough to do. Give it a shot. Okay, so my next goal, these are the three images I'm going to be using as reference. So the next step is, how do I arrange these objects on your paper? And I want to use a digital tablet. I'm going to draw digitally for you because it's easier for me to demonstrate and for you to see. But for you, try this with pencil. start off with light sketches. You get the shape and form that you want. And then think placement. Start off with a basic blocking in, placing your objects on the piece of paper. So on this one, when I study this, looking at this, how do I visually juggle or arrange these objects on the paper? So what should I make the most important thing of these three objects? So I like the trumpet. I think that should be the main thing. Okay. So with the trumpet, I can keep the original angle. I can change it so that it's maybe, let's see, if it's rotated in a different direction. That looks kind of strange. Let me see, can I flip it left to right? I mean, if you have a graphics program that you're able to flip it, mirror it, that's up to you. For this demonstration, I'll keep it this orientation. Now for the cap, where do I put the cap? Maybe somewhere in the upper right-hand corner. And the shoes maybe towards the bottom. I think I might add like a fourth element, maybe like a 1950s chair, like something you find in a theater or something. So I'm going to look online for that. So let me stop sharing here. So I'm trying to arrange 4 objects here. I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to share with you my iPad, and I'm going to just get started once I find that 4th image of the chair. Okay, let's see here. We need to go to Google, and we need to find 1950s chair. Okay, I want something simple, not too detailed. I think I found it right here. All right, this diner's chair, 1950s diner chair. That's a good one. Okay, let me save this. Okay, so I am going to place that chair in this folder that I have. 1 second, guys. So I'll save that to the desktop. Okay, so now I have my 4 images, and now I'm going to share with you, share a screen of my iPad so I can, thank you for your patience. So for you, once you have your 3 items, you have to kind of maybe do some sketches, maybe do some small little drawings, trying to figure out the composition. How would you like to arrange the piece for the arrangement of the 4 items? Okay, so I need to share this screen. Share screen. Okay, I need to share my object here. Okay, I'm having a little technical difficulties. Let me see. I need to stop this share and bring it over to my other screen. Let's try this one more time. Okay, here we go. Cross our fingers here. Share screen. Here we go. There we go, finally. All right. Sharing the iPad. Let's go into our program. I'm using an app called Tayasui, Tayaasui Sketches. You can basically use a lot of different apps and programs. Drawing programs are the same. You guys, I would suggest using a 2B pencil in your sketchbook. I'm going to bring up my 3 images here. So what's the first object I'm going to draw? Well, I think I'm going to draw the chair. And the chair is going to establish like the main object in the form. It's going to start off fairly rough. It's we're going to refine it as we go along. Just like a lot of things, we need to start off with big shapes and forms. Okay, so where do we begin here? I'm going to place the chair. Now I'm drawing lines here, but I'm going to be getting rid of these lines later. These lines are just to establish like the basic proportion and the shape of the chair. It's a diner's chair. It's kind of, these cushion ones, these are really comfortable. This leg is slightly bent. Leg is too long. You need to go up a little bit. There you go. There's our chair. And I'm happy with the basic size. I could make it a little bit bigger. Zoom in maybe a little bit later. Let's try to start off with this. Now, the next reference image is going to be the hat. So where do we place the hat within this picture plane? Do I want just floating in space, or can I go ahead and add the hat? Maybe there's the oval for the hat, and there's the top portion of the cap. Hats are not easy. They're strange shapes, kind of like a cylinder. Here's the edge of the cap. Front's kind of taller. The back's a little bit, goes down a little bit. Maybe bring that down a little bit. There's a band going across. I'm not happy with that. I'm gonna erase that. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to lower it so it feels like it's kind of hanging off. So the top edge is closer to the edge. There, that looks better. Okay, so I have the hat there. Now the other element I showed you earlier, which are the shoes. So where can I put the shoes here? So let's put the shoes maybe in the front, in the foreground. I'll make it a little bit bigger too. So they're kind of, I'm gonna work on the outside of the shoe first. So there's the back. There's the front pointed portion. And then here's the opening of the shoe right here. And I'll reduce this down to positive, negative shapes in a little bit here. So then we have the other part of the shoe going from the side, which I think would fit really nice, like right there. It dips down. Here's the front of the shoe, and then it goes up. We don't see quite the heel, but I want to put a little more on the bottom to show the the sole. Okay, so now where do we put the trumpet? Interesting. So we want to be able to make sure that we see the trumpet. So we can put it on a diagonal, maybe leaning against the seat of the chair. We can put it vertically on the chair, but if the chair is going to be black, then how do we make the trumpet stand out? So that's important. Interesting. Could I put the trumpet on the left side, kind of standing on the floor? Let's go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and darken in just pure black the areas that I want to be. Let's see, what's the, this is good. So maybe a little bit thicker here. Okay, so I'm going to go in and slowly just kind of block in all my, like a coloring book, go ahead and block in the big shapes here. I want to leave a little gap between the hat and the chair itself, just to remind me the curvature of the you get the silhouette of the hat. The symbol of the hat. We're removing any kind of values or this is interesting. There's a noise coming from the pen on the surface of the tablet. That hasn't happened before. How did that happen? Not sure if I like that sound. Okay, so you know, from you guys have been studying proportion with lines and compositions, and I hope you enjoy this project. It's kind of fun. It's like you get to determine. You're like the director. You get to determine where the placement of everything goes. You're arranging things. You're deciding where things go and how prominent they are. And I'll erase all the lines later, but I'm just blocking in the major shapes of my objects. Have patience. If you don't have enough time to, on one sitting, to do all of this work, which takes time with pencil and pen, if you use pen. Just draw on the silhouette of this. You run into some problems with positive negative drawings because sometimes if you overlap, you start to lose, start to see some of the shapes and forms and start to lose the shape and forms. They get lost because of the two black areas overlapping. They kind of disappear a little bit, so that can be kind of frustrating. And I can go back in here with an eraser and sharpen in areas I don't like or I don't feel like it's successful. So here's our, in a way, I've kind of done the project, the basics, which is the three objects. But we're not going to leave it like that. We have to add the trumpet in there somewhere. Gosh. Let's give it a try. Let's try a negative. Let's try a negative trumpet. Let's go to the the eraser tool, and let's see. There we go. Let's make that a little bit thinner here. And I need to go to my reference, which is the trumpet. And let's see if we can. Oh my gosh, this trumpet is really hard. Okay, so I'm gonna try my best here. So here's the bass. And the trumpet, the main piece here, goes all the way up, like the Eiffel Tower. It's like a tulip funnel. Okay, there we go. And then it has running alongside its neck, like right there, there's this kind of oval-like shape, the tubes right there. I'll slowly follow that. And I'll work on the thickness a little bit later. I'm just trying to get the basic placements. And then towards the middle, towards the back, we have the 3 finger thingamajigs. One, oops, let's make that a little bit thinner. 1, 2, 3. And they kind of have these little rounded tabs on the top. And then what else here? Any distinctive? Oh yeah, it kind of extends off the bottom curved oval tubes. And then within this shape, we have some more detail. I'm going to stop right there and just go ahead and get the basic shape in there and get rid of that linear quality. I want to make it a little bit more just negative shape. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw in. So you notice by going in and taking out the negative shape of the white of the paper or the background, that we're able to see it. So you can overlap at times. And it's about shape and form. It's not about line, even though I'm using line to get the basic composition and the shape of the objects. And within this demo, it's a little quick. You know, I would spend more time on it to get the details. Here, let me zoom in a little bit. It's be easier to draw here. Using my homemade little pen here with aluminum foil wrapped around an old pencil with a Q-tip on the end. Saving me a lot of money, but it's gonna be frustrating. It doesn't work perfectly, but it's working. I'm not concerned that it's perfect, each one of these, but this is for demonstration. I'm sure yours is gonna be better. And then for the thickness of the tube, I'm going to make sure that it's trying to match the thickness of, and while I'm here, I'm going to smooth out this curve, this transition. I'm using my guidelines to kind of erase the shapes and forms. I'm just concerned about this shape right now, piece by piece. Okay. Okay, let's go down a little bit. So do you see how it's beneficial to work with large shapes first, and then you go down to the smaller detail? Now there are artists who work from detail to detail. And that's great. That's their way. That's a different way of working. You might like that also. So, you know, taking art class and drawing, it's about understanding different ways different techniques to arrive at the same goal or different goals. And what's the benefit of this technique for artists or for things around us? So where do you see stuff like this? You see them in advertisements, publications, public relations material, billboards, jazz music, arts campaign, communicating visually what's going on. It's a jazz concert. It's an album cover. It's a poster. It's a website. It gets people interested. What's going on? Interesting. I like music. Don't you like music? And the idea of aesthetics. You guys know what aesthetics is? It's study of beauty, shape, and form. And all right, so I'm okay with this. I kind of like where it's beginning. I'm going to go in here, and what I'd like to do is, while we're in this mode here, go back to my marker, and I want to draw the mouthpiece on the top. It disappeared. So how do I do that? So I need to go to black here and then make the tip a little bit smaller. So I'm going to zoom in and kind of eyeball the who knew this trumpet had all these little technical pieces and everything on this. So now I reverse it out because now it's black. It's no longer white because it's really the relationship of positive, negative shapes and how they interact with each other. Okay, let's zoom out and see what that looks like. I don't want to put too many details in here because it essentially is about black and white shapes and forms. So let's go in here with the white and then just add a few more things here. So this one is I'm going to try to go back to the eraser. Okay, so this one, I notice on the back, there's a little hook. I'm not sure exactly what it's for, but oh, there's a tube right here. It's like a mini tube interacting with those three. It's like a smaller oval I want to put in here. Maybe someone plays the trumpet or trombone. They know what they know what the parts are to their musical instruments. Paid attention to it. Okay, and then we have a little hook that kind of extends out the middle, comes down, and then curves up. Good. And the other side, I see a little, maybe for fingers to rest in. Let's see, it's like it goes up. Let's see if I can pull this off here. So it goes up and then goes down. Okay. And then we have another small mini tube or something on this side. I'm not sure what that's for. Let's see if we can put that in there. Let's see, that starts like right there and then goes into the main tube. And let's see, I think that looks pretty good. Let's zoom out here. In a way, I'm trying to have just enough shapes and forms to tell that this is the object that it's identifiable. So you can tell it's a chair. You can tell it's a hat. Let's put where the band is for the hat. I need my hat reference. So there's the band right there. So there's a band that goes across. Let me see if I can draw that. So a negative shape going around the band here. Here's the jazz person's hat. I'm contouring the hat, give it some character. Now I'm going to leave a little bit of negative white gap between the chair and the hat. There you go. Let's see, maybe a little bit more detail right there. Man, this hat is tough. Wow. It's more like a bucket hat. Maybe this needs a little curve right there. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Got a Michael Jackson hat. And then let's go to the shoes. Okay, so what can we do with the shoes? The shoes, I would like to do a negative shape for the opening of the shoes. So there's the opening of the shoe right there. And I think it needs a little bit more detail. So what about the opening at the top here? Let's just go ahead and put in. There we go. Looks good. And then on this side, we'll put a little opening for that shoe right there. What do you guys think? Do you like that detail? Is it a nice complement to the other, the large shapes and forms? I'm going to taper off the ends a little bit. And then let's put some dots here, a little bit larger dots. How many should we put in here? Let's put just 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Those are a little bit too big. Let's be a little bit smaller. 1, 2, 3 pairs. 1, 2, 3. That's a nice little detail, little touch right there. Okay, let's go back and let's stop here. And it's this is what I suggest: is periodically stop your drawing or your composition and look at it from a distance. Let's make it a little bit smaller and see, is it working all together? I'm happy with it for the assignment, which is it's about positive negative shapes. And I think I can spend a little bit more time on here, like cleaning up some of the edges and shapes and forms. But for the purpose of the assignment, it feels like it's grounded. Later on, if I wanted to put more detail, I can put some more shapes of the room. Actually, let me try that. I think, let's see here. If I put in just a rectangle, see a series of rectangles here, just to establish the back of the wall, the corner. So this one needs to be a little bit larger, little bit larger, pure black, a little bit larger. I don't like that. That doesn't look good. Kind of breaks up the, that looks a lot better. And it's, I think they interact with each other very nicely. They're kind of harmonious. It's a nice grouping of shapes and forms. Okay, so I hope you liked that demonstration. I'm going to, now I have to post this and save it and record it and share it with everyone.